this is a certain meditative healing absorption to free oneself from overly imposed fear modalities and to raise one's immunity and to offer certain protection in this time of agony, panic, and people feeling scared for their lives, for their dear ones. So this is a certain transmission to support people, to help them come back to their natural being, the being which is beyond modalities of fear, anxiety, chaos, misunderstanding, and to help people to realize what kind of changes they need to implement at this time, maybe to return to natural being, to natural living, more natural eating and pure eating, and also more balanced existence within themselves, so that their surrounding will be balanced and so they will be protected by their own powerful emanation, which would be their immunity or energy shield. As long as you perceive yourself as a victim, you are in denial of the flow of life. So this is something that has to be uprooted. It's like a viral infection. Victimization is a viral infection. There are different aspects of it which keep on draining our being, keep on disturbing, distorting our perception of life, interpretation of life, give us false ideas about life, push us into projection, assumption, fears of the past. These are two viruses of our existence and consciousness. So if you're able to understand these roots within our consciousness, gradually acknowledge them, admit them to ourselves, we're able to uproot them and strengthen our energy field, you may say so, or conscious field, and thus our immunity. The fear is the biggest virus. Panic is a result of it. So as long as we dwell on fear and see everything in a very limited human perspective way, we're not able to understand what is us, or what is humanity, what is existence, what is creation. And we become victims of our own corrupt perception, and thus our body starts rotting alive or being affected by different kind of pathogens, because we are corrupt and infected from inside. We see ourselves only as a body, and that's why we're so scared for our own body. We cannot perceive ourselves as the existence. If we perceived ourselves as an existence, we would not divide this existence into different forms and names in our perception. We would see that there are different forms and names, but existence is one. And we would flow in this existence and welcome all kinds of experiences, all kinds of forms and names. It would be inseparable from the natural flow of life, from the nature we would not create all these abnormal systems and ideas about ourselves, about nature, and keep ourselves in a kind of a separate box from the natural living, from the natural being. As long as we do this, we have all kinds of corruptions. And these are all unnatural forms of spirituality, forms of self-expression, our systems. All these are our viruses within our collective consciousness. And so now the way we create this reality, manifest it and live it, it manifests, it comes back to us, and it feeds off our body. So we become prey to all kinds of pathogens because we are poisoned from within. We don't realize that our corrupt perception is our inner poison that drains us, that makes us age, that leads us to this abnormal death, involuntary death, where we're not aware of what is life, what is death, where we're going, what is going to happen. So we live in complete ignorance. So we neither can live in a balanced, natural way, nor we can die in a balanced, natural way. Death means peaceful, conscious exit from the healthy, youthful body. So that's the knowledge of a different day and age. But in this day and age, whatever we have is the manifestation of the collective. And since consciousness is so full of corruption, these physical viruses and bacteria are just but the manifestation of that. And our immunity is so weak because of the unnatural way of living, unnatural system of dwelling, existence, communication, interaction between people. And also all these false concepts and ideas, limited perspectives on existence. And so it just goes back on us, or to us, and affects our body, because the body is the fruit. The body is the fruit, and the consciousness is the root. If the tree is rotting from the root, there's no good fruit, or there's no fruit at all. And so most of the people do not see this connection between the consciousness and the body, or they kind of see it in a very obscure way. As long as they see it in a very obscure way, they see everything in a divided manner, like a jigsaw puzzle, where they see just fragments. So they constantly need to reflect themselves. They need to see themselves. They need to empower themselves outwards. They need to take something from outside to keep themselves healthy, because they cannot recognize that the fountain of youth, health, longevity is within themselves. And this is the root, the consciousness. As long as the consciousness is polluted by thoughts and emotions, and related to this polluted consciousness of the collective, one is not able to perceive the natural being. If they're not perceiving the natural being, they're not able to be in stillness, in absorption, so they're not able to recharge their subtle body, and so their physical body depletes and loses its vitality, and so immunity. Now, immunity is the shield which originates from the direct link with a supposedly effulgent consciousness, the pure consciousness, but consciousness is corrupt and distorted. And because of this distortion and corruption, the body appears distorted and corrupted. And so that's why our body is the fruit. And if the body is sick, if the body has no immunity, it means it fell prey to this corruption, or it is a result of this corruption. Now, this corruption in consciousness leads us to all false ideas and concepts and beliefs. So we believe that we cannot live without this food or that food. Half of our food is unnatural. And so it has a certain impact on our body and on our mind, because our gut is connected with the brain. Our blood vessels are energy channels. And so if they're polluted because of too much calcification of the body, so we consume much more calcium than we're supposed to, so we calcify our glands, our blood vessels, and so organs don't function properly. Our gut is full of toxins because it cannot process the amount of sugar we consume and the amount of proteins and fats and natural foods we consume. And so this is the result. When this is the situation, the immunity is naturally down and the mind is not able to perceive anything as it is. So it perceives everything in a very corrupt way. So in order to heal ourselves, we need to consume acidic products like lime water, lemon water, cranberry, lingonberry juice, so that we can start the process of decalcification. We also have to consume much less proteins and much less calcium. The amount of calcium that is required is less than 300 milligrams, which is 1/3 about of a gram. And we consume usually, it's per day, so we consume usually 5 to 10 times more. And this is the result of overall calcification of the body and the glands and stones in gallbladder or kidneys. The same happens with protein. We consume too much. Let's say if you have 40 kilos or 50 kilos or 20 kilos or 70 kilos, you have to consume protein accordingly. 1 gram per kilo. So if you're 60 kilograms or 50 kilograms, you have to consume only 50, 60 grams per day to maintain yourself in a healthy way. If you consume more, you again start clogging and blocking your system filters and blood vessels. And so the result of it is disturbed system. Now we're polluted from inside out, but the biggest pollution is in our consciousness. We choose to eat a certain way because our consciousness is polluted, and everything we see is a corrupt form of ourselves, whether it's spirituality, whether it's our emotional, personal life, and so on. Is just a reflection of this. That's why we are so action driven in our spiritual search. We look for solutions, ambitious kind of forms of spirituality, action-driven solutions, and so on. We cannot understand that if we do not come back to our natural being, we cannot restore the balance within ourselves. If we cannot restore the balance within ourselves, we cannot restore the balance within the collective. And so our society and the world will continue going through this chaos and agony. So this is the point of this transmission. Empower yourself, but not through any kind of means and mediums. Just be. Cultivate silence, purity, sincerity, simplicity. Let go of these needs to be something, to be right, to prove something, to change your life in a very, again, action-driven way. Stop buying yourself superfoods or fasting and then again indulging into some kind of bad foods or substances. Stop stimulating yourself continuously, whether in the name of spirituality or in any other name or in the name of health. There's no health without balanced consciousness, pure consciousness. Pure consciousness free from thoughts and emotions. So it emanates, it radiates, and this radiation is a powerful shield, which is not allowing all these bacteria and viruses, pathogens which are around us to enter the body or to even settle in the body if they enter. They cannot find their nest in there or sprout out. So because the mind is pure, and so the body will be pure as well. There will be no environment for viruses or pathogens to dwell in. But if your body is polluted, if your intestines polluted, your vessels polluted, your all channels polluted, so there is an entrance there. And the platform or the right environment for negative forms of existence, negative energy in the form of viruses and pathogens in the physical reality, and in the form of negative emotions and thoughts like fear and agony and chaos and anxiety on the level of emotional, mental reality to find the way into your being. So if you understand this, you can cultivate stillness and cultivate inner purity and remain at all times pure and healthy. And this was said in all Siddha teachings. that if you self-refine yourself, or if you cultivate selflessness, stillness, and absorption, and your consciousness doesn't cling to anything, and you cultivate inner purity. Inner purity means freedom from emotions and thoughts that happen only when you understand that everything is transitory and you dwell in your own natural being. Only then you are able to strengthen your field to such a degree that your subtle body becomes effulgent and radiant, and your emanation is so powerful that all the negative forms of existence on subtle level, on the gross physical level, they flee. It means all negative thought and motion forms flee, and all the bacteria, negative physical forms, and like viruses, they also flee your being. If you realize this, you'll start maybe changing your perspective and cultivating more being than action, more stillness than interaction, and also understand how to live in a natural way, how to realize natural forms of spirituality and self-healing that does not require mediums. Healthy mind does not project, does not go into the past, does not go into the future, does not analyze or judge. It just remains calm and peaceful. Even if it acknowledges certain things, it doesn't go into projection with that, or doesn't create anything out of it. So it's an empty mind, blissful, empty yet very potent and radiant. And this radiation is the immunity. It strengthens the body like the water strengthens the tree. And this is the essence of Siddha teaching, Siddha knowledge of health, healing, and improving your immunity system and protecting you from all the negativity, because all the negativity or positivity is within us. The external forms of negativity find their way into our being as if only when we support it from within. When we have these openings on the subtle level, energetic level, you may say, or openings on the physical level. If our intestines are not clean, so it's an opening. It's a pathogenic flora in which anything negative can dwell, and so it gives an opening to malfunction of different other glands and organs, and so the protective shield is down, and so the body cannot resist negative forms of physical energy, which are viruses or negative bad bacteria. The same happens with the subtle body. If you connect to the collective forms of negative energy on the level of emotions and thought, this thought emotions or thought forms or emotional forms, they become like entities which attach to your energy body, subtle body. And so there's an opening there within you that allows that connects to that creates a link. So there's no need to feel like the world is against you or the world poses danger. Inner being, inner thoughts, inner self either maintains the physical aspect of self, which is karma, which is the body, physical manifestation, in balance, or it becomes a reason for the imbalance and physical suffering and physical kinds of forms of corruption, which is aging and abnormal death through agony and pain. Be well, be balanced, be equanimous, and be self-protected by your own purity.